we just paid for your heater, buddy. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens.
Anthony, clothes.
Jeff.
Do you wear them?
Man, you are asking relatable questions. You know what I mean?
Like, finally.
Who out there knows about clothes? Am I right?
This is our quest to prove science is for everybody.
Clothes.
Science
Who
podcast, you tune in. Clothes. Let's talk about it.
Clothes.
Let's get to the heart of the matter.
Clothes. They're just like us.
They're the shape of us mostly.
They're the shape of a pile on my bed mostly.
They're like a similar outline to me.
Or a very wrinkly pile on my bed.
But in all seriousness,
somebody please come and fold my laundry.
If you are not doing anything in a day, will you dress? Will you stay mostly undressed?
Oh, do I wear clothing in the house?
Yeah.
It depends. I'm usually in a t-shirt and boxers at the least.
Yeah.
I'm not a walk around naked sort of man. Though occasionally, you know,
I enjoy walking around naked a bit,
but I'm not going to do it for a long period of time in the house. Normally, if I'm walking around naked, it's like, oh, I just got out of the shower and I'm doing something, and like I'm going to get, because I have ADHD, and so I'll get out of the shower and I'll be like, well, it's time to organize my sock drawer. It's like, do you want to put on any clothes? No, just to organize them.
Just move them around from place to place.
Oh, we're out of clothes to organize. Why? Well, because I haven't folded any. They're in a pile on my bed. Somebody please come over here and fold my clothes.
You seem like a man who takes some care in your apparel. You are a snappy dresser when the occasion warrants it.
Only when the occasion warrants it.
Yeah.
If I'm here around the house all day, or I'm not going to be on camera, buddy, you better believe I'm just wearing like boxers and a t-shirt, or I got a robe.
Oh, you're a robesman.
2 years ago, I got a nice robe, and I got to tell you, buddy, I've thought my whole life, I'm like, man, wouldn't it be nice to have a nice robe? Do you know that you can just have one?
Here's the thing.
I thought they were given out by the government in small quantities to hotels.
Yeah.
And that's why people were always stealing robes from hotels.
They're rationed.
Is because there's nowhere else to get a robe. No, it turns out you just go buy a robe. So I did.
I can't get into robes. My wife is on team robe. She loves a robe, and she gifted me a robe, a very nice robe, several years ago. Yeah. And it remains mostly untouched. A robe falls open for me. I don't know how to deal with the belt situation.
You just tie the belt, dude. What are you talking about?
It doesn't seem to ever stay tied. I don't know. It doesn't add comfort to me.
Do you not know how to tie a knot? I don't understand.
But even when the belt is tied, like, do you know what I'm talking about? With the sides of the robe will kind of creep outward anyway, and the belt remains tied, but it doesn't actually cinch the robe.
No,
because you're walking around and the robe is like creeping.
Kind of. I get what you're saying, but you pull up a card, where you just pull it down real quick.
Yeah,
and then it all tightens up. I mean, it's no different.
That is a card.
I think it's no different than like when you're wearing a suit and you're like, is everything in the suit in place? But it's like, it's not that bad. I don't want to compare a robe to a suit. A robe is just lazy comfort. The thing about a robe is like, if the robe falls open a little bit, that's fine, man. It's a robe.
Yeah, I guess. So you wear the robe with clothes underneath it though? Or do you wear the robe?
God,
just
no.
The robe?
If you're wearing a robe, that's what you're wearing. That's the point of the robe.
That sounds nice. That sounds like a nice way to go.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because we're going to talk about clothes today. I've always sort of wondered. It's odd to me that we are the only animals that wear clothes.
Well, you're forgetting about Richard Scarry's Busy Town.
That's true.
Where all the animals.
I often do forget about Richard Scarry's Busy Town.
That's right. You're forgetting about Richard Scarry's Busy Town, where all the animals wear adorable outfits to do their day-to-day jobs, like Lowly Worm as he drives his Apple car.
I did that did slip my mind.
Well,
that's my bad.
That is your bad. And I think I've invalidated all the science for today, unfortunately.
Well,
a lot of scientists forget about Busy Town.
I just think it's an odd thing that, I mean, I understand as conscious creatures, that self-conscious creatures, that we would develop some sort of, picadillos, some shame. Picadillos is the wrong word.
Yeah.
Some shame around our naked bodies. That makes sense. But
do you think? Okay, here's what I'm pulling out here. I know that.
I'll pull anything out.
But no. Here's the thing.
Keep it in the robe.
No, it's all out. I think yes, it became like self-consciousness, shame, like all that stuff. But I don't believe I don't believe clothes started that way.
I agree. That's what I was just going to say. Is like, I understand that. What I don't understand is, it's a safety issue.
Yeah, exactly. You can't have your bits and your bobs bitten and bobbing around while you're hunting.
I agree. But that doesn't, the wild puma on the Serengeti doesn't bother them.
Do you know, here's the thing. Here's the thing about the wild puma on the Serengeti and all these animals. They do get injured and die a lot more than we do.
But not from
at a
genital related mishaps.
I'm not saying genitals, you got to protect everything. That's why we've got shirts and stuff. You got to keep the sun off yourself because we don't have fur. You got to you got to stop everything from scratching you up when you're doing that thing, that thing where you're slow creeping through a jungle or a forest and the branches are getting, that slow creep.
The bramble,
when you're skulking through a bramble.
Yeah.
That thing. Ugh.
Yeah. I know that thing.
That looks so cool on camera. A skulk through a bramble.
It does. The elk are none the wiser because you're skulking through the bramble.
How would the elk know? Honestly,
I don't know. They're just.
How would they be the wiser?
They're just hanging out near the bramble. Yeah. And they don't know you're skulking.
They're brambling around like a bunch of idiots. And we're brambling with purpose.
But doesn't it seem strange to you that we, the top of the food chain, have to, we got to cover our weak little vulnerable bodies, but with layers of, we didn't grow our own fur or pelts, so we have to borrow it from because we're so fragile and our little skins will get hurt by the bramble.
I mean, I think about that kind of stuff all the time. I think about like what we traded for human brain or why we even had to trade it for human brain. I think it would be cool if once again, hey, CRISPR, gene splicers, get at me. I've got ideas for the human body. Okay.
Improvements.
Yeah. Rock skin.
Oh, yeah. Like the Thing?
Well, not like the Thing because I don't want to look like the Thing.
Yeah, well, he doesn't either.
That's his whole thing. They call him the Thing, but it's not because he looks like a thing. It's because he's got this one thing that he hates about himself, and it's his looks.
That's true.
It's like, don't talk to him about the Thing.
Oh, the Thing?
Yeah.
The Thing, I shouldn't talk to the Thing about the Thing?
Yeah, don't mention the Thing.
To the Thing.
Yeah, he hates that. It's like a whole thing with him. So I do think about that. Like, in order to be the super brilliant environment destroyer, capitalist lover things that we are,
right?
We had to give up a lot of cool shit that would have made us better,
more durable,
better bramblers. If I'm honest,
better bramblers, better skulkers.
Yeah.
Well, this was an article sent to us or posted there on the old Discord by our friend Spielberg Newfer.
Hey, what's up, Newfer?
Doing the good work, doing the great work, posting the great stories.
One of the all-timers.
This is a story from nowarchaeology.com that was written by Ilif Deluc. And this is a story about the origin of clothing. How long ago do you think we, as a species, started wearing clothes? I'll phrase it slightly differently. What do you think is the oldest piece of clothing that we have ever discovered?
The oldest piece of clothing. So we know we got to go back. We got to think as far back as we know there was peoples doing stuffs. So that would be probably like an Egypt or a China or something like that. Or sort of your cradle of civilization sort of thing. I would say 4,000 years BCE.
Pretty darn good. The first piece of clothing that has ever been, or the earliest, I should say, piece of clothing that has ever been recovered was what is known as the Tarkan dress. This is a linen V-neck t-shirt, which, by the way,
that's
all hail the V-necks, right? Even ancient peoples knew V-neck very flattering to your form.
Oh,
I'm a big fan of the V-neck.
A linen?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. You're summery, bud. That's a day to night look. That's a day to night look.
It was found at a dinner party in the summer on a deck. It was found on a balcony. It was delightful.
Oh my God. They were eating al fresco, bud?
Actually, I'm joking, but the truth is it was found near some of the earliest casks of wine that we've ever found.
Oh.
That's actually true. It was found in Egypt in an Egyptian cemetery.
Are we talking about a boozy brunch, bud?
A boozy brunch in your V-neck linen tee? Come on,
dude.
Let's all go. It's the first dynasty tomb. This is literally a tomb of the first dynasty that ever was, where an Egyptian leader, Pharaoh Narmer, evidently, who is generally credited for creating the first dynasty, uniting Upper and Lower Egypt. This happened around 3000 BCE.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about 5,000 years ago.
Wait. Okay. Sorry. Go on.
So the V-neck, the Tarkan dress has been radiocarbon dated. And they believe it was created between 3482 and 3102 BCE.
But wait, okay. So it just occurred to me that I was thinking about clothes. Right?
What?
I'm thinking about clothes. I'm thinking about a shirt. I'm thinking about what was the first time that we wore clothes. But we were wearing, we've been wearing pelts and stuff. We've been wearing animal skins. Do we count that as clothes?
Well, they're saying anything. The question here is, yes, anything that was clothes, but specifically crafted clothing.
Okay. So clothes.
We're looking for woven fabrics. We're looking for, anything that was stitched together to create clothing.
We're looking for a flattering A-line. We're looking for,
yes.
If we're doing a t-shirt, we want to make sure that we get one of those loop t-shirts, the loop spun ones from the Bear, like the Bear guy watches that wears that everybody wants right now.
Yes.
Those good t-shirts. It's just a white t-shirt, but it costs like $63 because the guy from the Bear wears it.
Oh, 63 is probably on the low end. I bet that's like $2
for the Bear t-shirt.
I wouldn't doubt it. Not that I'd pay it. I'm just saying I wouldn't doubt it. But yeah, we're looking for a striking silhouette, something that cuts a nice line.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
Just so you're aware, the Bear Guy t-shirt, $95. You're not wrong.
Oh,
it's expensive t-shirt.
Yeah, but not as expensive as I thought.
But not as cheap as I thought. I'll tell you that.
Not anything I would ever spend on a t-shirt. No. Let's put it that way. Even if I had $95 to set on fire, I don't think I'd buy a t-shirt with it.
This one's from Germany. You got to buy it from Germany.
Now I am buying it because a German t-shirt. That sounds.
Please, that's engineering right there. So when did we? So according to this article, Jeff, is this Egyptian brunch wear the first clothing that we wore?
No, this is the first piece of clothing or the earliest piece of clothing that we have intact. And The tricky thing about determining when the earliest clothing was created and worn is that clothing tends to be made of stuff that doesn't last. Biodegradable stuff, fibers
except from these t-shirts from the Bear, dude. They're German. They're like loop spun or whatever the fuck it is.
They are always on time, those German t-shirts.
They make your biceps look great.
Oh, man. Yes, chef. Yes, chef. So the tricky part is the only reason we found the Tarkan dress is because it just happened to be stored in this sarcophagus, really, this cemetery, that it was exceedingly dry, and so it didn't biodegrade. So we were able to find this one intact, but that is very unique circumstances. And so we're not likely to find intact clothing from earlier than that. So we're going to try to figure out some other ways to determine when clothing was created.
Okay.
So there is evidence of woven textiles that is even older than the Tarkan dress. There is a settlement whose name, let's be frank, Anthony, I am not going to get right.
I believe in you, though.
It's a place called Konya, and the settlement is called Çatalhöyük. Both the O in Huvuk and the U have umlauts over them. So I am just baffled.
But I feel like, listen,
Çatalhöyük.
All right. Okay. I think the attitude sells it a little bit more than the first time. I think that's good.
I'm trying,
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it, I say.
Yeah.
Anyway, archaeologists there in Konya have they found.
And Konya's in Egypt, or where's Konya?
It's in this. I don't know if it's Turkey, but it's TU with an umlaut.
KIY. Yeah, it's Turkey. That's the way they spell Turkey in Turkey.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Turkey. That shit'll get you.
It gets you. Anyway, these are plant-based woven textiles, just fragments of them, right? So not a full piece of clothing, but indicating that they were crafted by humans. People were producing clothing, and they actually, these are 8,500 years old.
Whoa.
The Konya Turkey fibers.
So
now it gets even older than that, though, because they found wild flax fibers in a cave in Georgia.
Those are so good for you.
Yes, especially aged like these ones are. These fibers in this not Georgia, America, Georgia, I believe in
country Georgia.
Yeah, the country of Georgia, right? Some of the fibers that they found here were twisted and dyed with pigments, natural pigments.
Okay.
So they believe this is evidence of sewing garments. Like, you make a fancy looking, a nice looking, I want this in a nice fuchsia. Give me a fuchsia flaxseed shirt.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
30,000 years ago.
Oh.
Right.
Oh, okay. So okay. That's the first textile we've ever found. So we believe that because we found these fibers, these textile fibers, it's reasonable to believe that they were being used to. Why would you make textiles unless you're
putting them on your body?
You're putting them on your body. Listen, a nice window treatment is lovely.
Sure, they do believe that people made curtains before clothing.
Curtains before clothing is what I say.
That's what we all say.
That's what we all say. If you want to be classy, curtains before clothing. And listen, you got to invent the clothing before you invent the window, or the curtains before you invent the window.
That's right. You don't want people snooping when you're naked. Curtains before clothing.
Curtains before clothing. And listen, if you're gonna cut a window into something for the first time, you want to be able to know that you can close that window. And also
close that window.
You want to be able to know that when you close that window and when you cut off that view, you're doing it with something classy. So when the neighbors walk by,
that's right,
they go, "Ooh, nice window treatment.
Well done.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
That matches the
So 30,000 years ago, we decided to make some clothes. Is there a reason for that? Why did we do it?
We were cold because the windows were open and the drapes were pulled. There's a real stiff breeze in here.
And we thought we could use this curtain stuff.
I'll just wrap that around me
to cover ourselves.
Ancient peoples had been wrapping themselves in the curtains, just standing near the windows, shivering in the curtains. And they went, you know what? If I just take these down and put them around me.
I think we've got something. There's ancient children just hiding behind the curtains, their little feet sticking out, doing hide and seeks. I would imagine, okay, so I am just going to say, I would imagine before there was clothing, before there was full clothing, it would be reasonable to believe that we would make textiles for a blanket first or a bag, right? Something to carry things in, something to something to wrap ourselves.
I feel like those things aren't very far apart, though, because if you're making a blanket, I don't think the leap to let's just keep the blanket around me all the time. Hey, maybe if I could put my arms through the holes in this thing.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? But that's a slanket. You know what I mean? That's not clothes.
I think there's an argument to be made that a slanket is clothes.
Yeah, I think the Snuggie was invented before clothes. And also, I think I do know that you can walk around with a blanket around you for a pretty long time before you decide to get dressed. As somebody who suffers from depression, I can walk.
You've done those experiments.
Yeah, I get up and I've got the blanket on me all day, and I'm like, I could get dressed and do anything. And instead I don't, and I do nothing, and I'm just wrapped in a blanket. So I think they could have done it for a very long time before they made clothing.
You've actually used the scientific method to test that theory.
That's
yourself.
Right. Yeah, I use the scientific method in my own body chemistry.
But the story does not end there, Anthony, because you think 30,000 years ago, first fibers, is that the end of the story? And I say, no, it is not, because researchers, again, hard to find these fibers that biodegrade, that are, it's not like fossils. You're not going to find clothing, because it'll, when you imagine
unless it's like prehistoric nylon or rayon.
Right. That shit lasts forever.
Yeah. Like a prehistoric,
polyester,
like a polyester blend.
Yeah. Like a sick, full body suit, like a disco stew of the ancient world.
Or even one of those things where you look at a shirt online and it says softest shirt you've ever worn. And you're like, that either means it's a really nice shirt or it means it's entirely made of stretchy chemicals that I'm going to hate on my body.
Right. Yeah.
Have you ever been fooled by that, Jeff? The softest shirt or whatever?
I've definitely bought a couple of things from Instagram that I've regretted. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah. And it's always like, this is so soft and comfy. And you look at the pictures of the fabric and it looks soft and comfy. And then it comes and it's like,
neither soft nor comfy.
It's like a ShamWow that you wear on your body. It's like a microfiber cleaning cloth that you wear on your body, and it feels awful.
It's so true. It's so true. It's that kind of thing where if you wipe your hand across it, it stays that direction.
Yeah, exactly. It changes color. And you're just like, oh, and then you're like, I'm going to throw this in the washing machine and it's going to come out of the dryer and it's going to smell like burnt chemicals. It's going to have that, it's going to have that just light smell of something just a little bit burnt. And I'm going to be the only one that can smell it. So it's not bad enough that I can throw it out, but I don't want to wear this shirt.
Oh, I don't want to wear that. No.
So they found one of those shirts, is what you're saying?
No. They have a different method because they, at a certain point, it's like, well, let's look at clues that have nothing to do with actually finding fibers. And so what they thought about is, hey, what is a signifier of wearing material on your body? It's
a tan. It's like a tan line. It's like a permanent tan line.
Yeah, but hard to find tan lines on fossils too.
That's true.
One of the things that is a real signifier that we're wearing materials on our body is body lice.
Oh, okay.
Because body lice that feeds on humans, we have, there's two kinds of lice. There's head lice.
Yeah.
You don't want to get that. It's in your hair. Hard to get out. Knock on wood, my children never get it.
They will.
I know. I had a friend.
Even I got it, and I was like the most fastidiously clean child.
Well, the evidence to the contrary.
Well, I'm a disgusting adult. I was a fastidiously clean child.
No, I'm saying the lice is evidence.
Oh, the lice is evidence to the contrary. No, I'm telling you, it was one of those things where when I got lice, I freaked out because I was like, me?
Yeah.
Me?
Huh. How was that experience? Did you have to do did you have to pick them out individually or have someone do it? I had
a fucking meltdown, bro. I was like 11 years old. I had a fucking meltdown. They had to bring everybody into the nurse's office and do the Komen check.
Awful.
And then they did the Komen check and they were like, yep, we found one. And I was like, there's no way. I'm going back to class. It's totally fine. And she like combed and she went, oh, yep. And I was like, are you sure? Are you sure? Check again. This is 11-year-old me going, I think you should check again.
Were you patient zero or were there other kids?
No. We were all called into the office because people had already started being sent home and they wanted to know how far this thing had gone.
Right.
And not only was I fastidious, I was antisocial and bullied. So I was like, nobody's even hanging out around me and I'm very clean.
Yeah. My hair hasn't touched anyone. I've been within 12 feet of anybody.
Nothing. And they found like one or two, picked them out, called my mom, and I had to it was awful. We had to do the whole thing with the shampoo and the wearing the chemical shampoo in your head and like stripping all the sheets and cleaning all the fabric in the house. And like, it was a real nightmare, man. I hated it. I
believe it, man. That's awful. That is one of my biggest fears with my kids. Cause I know that you have no control over it. Somebody comes to school with it and then all of a sudden everybody has it in class and then what? You're done.
Yeah. It's like a virus. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
If it doesn't matter. If somebody's got it, somebody else is going to get it. So they created this is not about head lice though. I'm sorry.
No, this is not about, well, it's kind of about head lice because there's two kinds of lice. There's head lice and there's body lice.
There's lice who can and lice who can't.
That's right. And, the head lice feel superior to the body lice. They're like, oh, you're going to be down there, huh? Well, we'll be up here at the top.
That's right.
It's so annoying. Anyway, they are distinct species in that they have distinct DNA.
Okay.
And so scientists went, okay, here's what we can do. We can compare the DNA of head and body lice and see when the body lice emerged evolutionarily.
Oh, and so perhaps we started wearing clothes as protection against body lice.
Well, no, the other way around, that when we started wearing clothes, lice evolved to become body lice because they had a place to hang out.
Oh, clothes.
Yeah.
Clothes didn't protect us. Clothes failed us.
Yeah, head lice existed.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, we got these little tufts of hair we can hang out in. And then ancient peoples were like, hey, I know what we'll do. We'll put animal hair on our bodies. And head lice went, oh shit, we can hang out in a much bigger surface area. All we got to do is evolve slightly and change our species a bit and we can be body lice. And so the researchers are like, that might give us a clue as to the general time period around when clothes started happening, when that divergence happened and body lice came into existence. So they looked at the DNA and they realized that body lice diverged from head lice anywhere between 83,000 and 170,000 years ago.
Whoa.
It's a pretty wide range, but that they believe is the rough estimate of when clothes were first worn by early humans. It could be as much as 170,000 years ago.
Counterpoint. What if there was something that happened 170,000 years ago that caused us to grow insane amounts of armpit hair? What if there was?
You never know.
Did we look into that? Did we look into what was happening environmentally where it's like maybe we just had insane amounts of armpit hair and the lice, the body lice happened then?
It's possible, I suppose.
Thank you.
The great armpit growth of 170,000 years ago.
You don't know what was going on 170,000 years ago. Nobody does.
It's true.
What was going on 170,000 years ago? Name it. Name one thing.
armpit hair growth.
That's what I'm saying, baby. You're on board now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they found this, and then, but what? Oh man, here's the question that's going to be impossible to answer, though. What made us do it? I mean, was it just simple environmental stuff, and somebody finally had the first idea for clothes? I want to know what that inciting incident was. That was it's clothing time, baby.
You got to think it's mostly environmental. The harsh cold of the environment. It's got to be, hey, if we bundle up, we survive.
Sure.
And hey, if we kill the animal, we take its fur, we put it around us. Wouldn't it be nice if I didn't have to hold this on me?
Yeah. While I'm brambling. That way I have both hands for brambling, so I can do that cool thing that they do when they're brambling where they push the brambles aside with each hand, slightly,
Yeah, and they poke their little eyes out between it.
Yeah. And do
the full skulk.
And the Academy Award winning colorist for the film make sure that the eyes are just like a little bright in the frame, but not so bright they look unnatural, but just like strikingly bright,
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't even know I was there, but then you saw my eyes as I peered out from the bramble.
And then sometimes there's a little ooh-loo-loo. The little ooh-loo-loo.
Yeah.
Or like a
that sound.
That's a good one too.
That sound means someone about to die.
Dude.
Yeah.
That means you are brambling good. If you hear that, that noise, that is like, shit, dude, you're a master skulker.
Yeah. Yes.
You're a level A1 skulking king if that's going down.
Top tier skulking.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The best skulking. And it's like,
yeah. So that's wild that, for 170,000 years. Now, it's possible, they admit, that even before this, Neanderthals and real ancient peoples were wearing pelts of some kind of fur that weren't woven textiles or weren't any of these kind of, more sophisticated forms of clothing. It can even go farther back than 170,000 years ago. But the idea that we were already going, hey, I can take this thing and I can transform it into something wearable that really doesn't even resemble, it's not just a direct, like, I'm going to put the fur on my back, but I'm going to actually craft something. I find that to be, I feel like, that's got to be one of the first things. You feel like fire, is early, but I feel like clothing has got to be one of the first things that we went, gosh, wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. And then I want to know, the other big question is, when did we go from that to, gee, it would be cool to have warmth on me all the time, to, I'm wearing the good shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
When did it go from that to the drip? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, that looks really nice. The decor, the ornamentation, all that stuff. I wonder how far apart those are. Did that follow right after? And we went, well, if I'm doing this anyway, might as well make it look nice.
I bet it was pretty close. Close. So I looked, so jewelry goes back to the Stone Age, right? So there's jewelry from like 40,000 years ago at like different Stone Age sites.
Yeah.
And then there's some evidence of like an ornament, like an actual like head ornament from the Blombus Cave 75,000 years ago. Which that's an archaeological site in South Africa. So 75,000 years ago, that's, if we were wearing jewelry, we were definitely also wearing the drip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you got bling, you got drip. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You don't go for the tennis bracelet before you put on the ensemble. You know what I mean? You could build the ensemble around the tennis bracelet.
Oh, definitely. And wise to do so.
But you gotta have the clothing first.
Yeah. My instinct on this, my intuition on it is that if you got to feel like step one for clothing is that animal looks warm. That animal doesn't seem to have a problem in the snow.
Right.
I'm going to take that animal's covering and put it on me.
Now I'm the animal.
Now I'm the animal. But
do you think it was?
like,
do you think it was practicality, or do you think it was furries?
Well, I'm sure there was a little bit of a kink in there.
I think so too. I think it was just kind of like we've been hunting.
The animal's warm, and I'd like to fuck it.
Yeah, we've been hunting the gazelle, but also I find the gazelle to be beautiful.
Well, of course. How could you not? It's a majestic animal.
Perhaps I can be like the gazelle.
And maybe they will find me equally beautiful.
Yes.
But no, my point is that I think if that's step one, if it's I will kill that animal, take its pelt and put it on me. I feel like step 1.5 is like, well, I just killed the animal. It was not easy. The animal also has bones, antlers, cool looking shit.
Yeah.
I'll put that on me too to show how rad I am that I killed the animal, and all of a sudden we've got fashion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, wearing a trophy of your kill,
right?
Or even just to differentiate between whose pelt is whose.
Exactly, mine's the one with the 3 bones.
That's right.
I got the 3 bone pelt.
Everybody's wearing pelts. It's like, well, how do you? It's like when you're. Here's what it is. It's like when you're looking at the baggage claim after a flight, and it's like, well, I've got like one of those suitcases that they used to sell on podcasts, and it's like, but everybody has one of those suitcases they used to sell on podcasts. And so it's like, I'm pretty sure that's mine. No, that one's not mine. Sorry. Was that yours? Oh, ha, ha, ha.
You got to tie a scarf around it. You got to tie a scarf around the handle.
Or a fun tag or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I would have to imagine.
Skull and antlers on your suitcase.
Thank you. Yes. It's like skull and antlers on your suitcase. I would imagine that if everybody's wearing gazelle pelts.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I would like to imagine that in that level of society, it's just sort of like, well, here's the pile of pelts.
Yeah.
Everybody grab a pelt. It doesn't matter.
You really think it's that
egalitarian?
That yeah.
That sort of communist? I believe so.
Ugluk has been pelting all day. Everybody just grab a pelt because Ugluk has provided for the entire clan.
Well, I think Ugluk hunts, brings everything back. Somebody else, Glacko probably cleans everything.
Yeah.
And then you've got Myrrh. And
He's the silent type. Myrrh.
Yeah, Myrrh. And Myrrh's the one that like turns the skins into something wearable while somebody else is doing the meat.
Oddly, Myrrh is in charge of entertainment, which is always disappointing for everybody.
Yeah. Myrrh gets up in front of everybody and everybody's like, all right, Myrrh, tell good joke. Here we go. Myrrh been working. Go on, Myrrh. And Myrrh's like,
it kills. It kills every time.
And they're like, this guy's so funny.
You know what? No matter how many times I've heard it,
it's true.
It's still funny.
He say it true. Relatable. That way it is. Oh, wait. Wait.
It like me.
He like me. He like me. Me, Ugluk. You. But also like Ugluk. Wait. About to do crowd work.
Oh, yeah. You're so right. Yeah, no.
You got me.
Pelt provider.
That's me right there.
Oh, you got me. Because pelt providing is so like that.
But yeah, I think it probably started off as there's a pile of pelts. There's community food. There's all that stuff. I think it's probably more, whenever those we started getting hierarchies, I would imagine a lot of the sort of clothing and ornamentation came into effect when we started looking at like, hey, if maybe I could be the best Ugluk out of all the Ugluks. I'll wear a cool outfit, and then everybody will be like, oh, that Ugluk's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Proof that I killed the coolest thing, proof that I've got everybody. I mean, you see it in children right? My own kids are like, I want that toy because you've got it. So if there's only one, skull from the kill, everybody wants it.
Listen, if there's only one skull from the kill, you've got bigger problems than which kid's going to play with the skull. You know what I mean? Like,
fair point.
You know what I mean? It's like, and you don't want to let the kids in on it, but it's like, that's economic downturn.
Yeah.
Skulls don't go as far as they used to.
It's true. It's been a one skull winter. So don't even complain to me that you don't have new school clothes.
One Skull Winter is a great Counting Crows album.
It was a one skull winter, and right. I cried myself to sleep.
That's right. One of the great American songwriters right there.
He's so good.
That's kind of cool. So like we're talking about 170,000 years ago we started wearing clothes.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad.
It's pretty rad. And again, it doesn't clear up my central question, which is like, how did being so naked and vulnerable, it just seems like we would be the bottom of the food chain, not the top. But, we made it work. We really made it work for ourselves.
Buddy, it's the fact that we are doing the clothing and the tools. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And probably the tools first and then the clothing. But, that's what it is. Look at the big brain on us. Sometimes I forget because we're running the world into the ground. But look at the big brain on us. We're pretty good at stuff. When we're not actively fucking stuff, we're pretty good at stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
When do you think the first time was, if it was 170,000 years ago we started wearing clothes, if it was 4,000 BC or 3,400 BC we started wearing bruncheon outfits, when was the first time somebody got made fun of for their clothes?
It's got to be right around there, man.
I think it's 169,999 years ago.
Yeah. You think that skull good? That rabbit skull is so lame. This season, all about bear skulls.
Oh, not too far. Not too far. Sometimes crowd work get mean.
The first insult comic was,
Yeah. He said comics should be able to say what think. He said comedy job to challenge. But I say to him, being mean. Oh, he says that I hurt feelings. He says criticism of him hurt feelings.
He's gonna go off and make own podcast.
bit of double-edged spear. Seem like different qualities for judging. I don't know.
This podcast used to be so funny. Now it's just complaining about the man.
And in a way, when we were sitting there around those fires and painting those cave walls, weren't those the first podcasts, Jeff?
Indeed they were.
It's beautiful,
Indeed.
Really.
It really is. In our V-neck linen shirts.
That's right. And in a way, trading pelts or pebbles for stories was sort of the first Patreon.
Yes, and we can carry that tradition forward even to today, ladies and gentlemen. Be part of a tradition as old as time, and that is supporting these two knuckleheads.
That's right. Supporting podcasts is the first sign of human civilization, and it is how we got to where we are today. And if you support us at patreon.com/wehaveconcerns for just $1 a month, you get access to the Discord where we hang out, we chat, we talk about all kinds of things. We suggest science stories to each other. We're doing all kinds of fun stuff over there. But as you give a little more, you get a little more in return as well.
Yes, indeed. There's all kinds of bonus cool stuff, extra videos, extra episodes, extra cool content. The stuff we're talking about at the beginning of each episode, you can get that. It's a full conversation. Hang out with us. Head over to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. Support the show so we can have clothing.
Maybe heat.
Remains to be seen.
God willing.